Have you ever received a message that seemed ridiculous, yet strangely convincing? What would you do if your son called you in tears and said he had been arrested? Would you recognize your daughter's real voice if artificial intelligence copied it perfectly? And what if your favorite celebrity contacted you privately, claimed to be falling in love with you, and then suddenly needed money? Most of us believe we would immediately recognize a scam. We imagine scammers as careless strangers, sending badly written emails from suspicious accounts. But modern fraud does not always look suspicious. Sometimes it sounds like someone you love. Sometimes it appears inside a realistic video call. And sometimes the person manipulating you spends months building trust before asking for a single dollar. Scams are not new. The technology surrounding them is. Long before social media, cryptocurrency, or artificial intelligence existed, dishonest people were already selling fake medicines, creating false investment opportunities, and pretending to represent powerful organizations. The internet did not invent fraud. It simply gave fraud unlimited reach. A scammer no longer needs to stand in front of you. They can contact hundreds of thousands of people without leaving their bedroom. They can steal photographs, imitate voices, create fake documents, and disappear before the victim understands what happened. To see how we reached this point, we need to begin with one of the most famous scams in internet history, the unexpected fortune email. You open your inbox and discover a message from someone claiming to be a wealthy official, a member of a royal family, or the relative of a powerful businessman. They supposedly possess millions of dollars, but because of political trouble, frozen accounts, a family emergency, or government restrictions, they cannot access the money themselves. Fortunately, they have selected you, a complete stranger, to help them. All you need to do is provide your banking details or pay a small transfer fee. In return, you will receive a percentage of the fortune. The story is usually dramatic. A government has collapsed. A wealthy father has died. A family member has been imprisoned. A secret bank account must be moved before the authorities discover it. Today, these messages appear almost comical. The grammar is often poor, the story makes little sense, and the promised reward is unbelievably large. But during the early years of the internet, many people had never encountered anything like this. Imagine using email for the first time and receiving what appears to be a private message involving international politics, hidden wealth, and a family in danger. It could feel less like spam and more like the beginning of a movie. The scam works by targeting two powerful human emotions, generosity and greed. Some victims want the promised money. Others genuinely believe they are helping someone escape a terrible situation. Once the victim responds, the requests begin. First, the scammer may ask for identification, then a processing fee, then a tax payment. Then, another payment for legal documents. Every new expense is explained as the final obstacle standing between the victim and the fortune. But the fortune never existed. There have even been strange variations of this scheme. In one widely circulated version, a man claimed to be an African astronaut who had been stranded aboard an old space station for years. According to the message, his salary had continued accumulating while he remained trapped in orbit. Millions of dollars were supposedly waiting in a trust account, but he needed financial help arranging transportation back to Earth. The story was absurd, yet it revealed something important. Scammers do not always need every person to believe them. They only need one. Some fraudulent messages are intentionally unbelievable because the scammer wants to identify the most trusting recipients. Anyone who replies to an outrageous story may be easier to manipulate during the next stage. And sometimes, the same victim is targeted twice. After losing money, a person may receive another message from a supposed recovery agency, government department, or victims' compensation organization. The new contact claims the stolen funds have been located. There is only one problem. The victim must pay a recovery fee before the money can be returned. Someone who is desperate to repair the original loss may send more money, only to discover that the recovery service was operated by another scammer, or possibly the same one. But stealing through a single email is only one method. Some criminals are willing to spend weeks or even months creating an emotional relationship with their victims. These are romance scams, and they can be far more destructive than a fake fortune. The scammer begins by creating an attractive online identity. They steal photographs from a real person and build a convincing profile. Their character may be a successful engineer, a military officer stationed overseas, a doctor working with an international organization, or a widowed business owner traveling for work. There is usually a reason they cannot meet immediately. They are working on an offshore platform. They are completing a confidential assignment. They are deployed in another country. They are handling a complicated business deal. At first, money is never mentioned. Instead, the scammer provides attention. Good morning messages arrive every day. They remember small personal details. They ask about the victim's family, dreams, disappointments, and previous relationships. They say exactly what a lonely or emotionally vulnerable person may have been waiting years to hear. The relationship gradually becomes part of the victim's daily routine. A woman in her 50s, whom we will call Laura, joined a dating platform after ending a marriage that had lasted more than 2 decades. Her children had moved away, the house had become quiet, and she wanted companionship. Online, she met a charming man who claimed to work internationally. Their first conversations were casual. Then the messages became more personal. They emailed, exchanged texts, and eventually spoke on the phone. Every notification created excitement. For the first time in years, Laura felt that someone was genuinely interested in her. The conversations continued for months. That detail is important because a romance scam is rarely a quick request for cash. The criminal may be communicating with several victims at the same time, carefully maintaining each relationship until trust has been established. After approximately 6 months, Laura's online partner introduced an investment opportunity. He described it as something they could build together, a financial foundation for their future. Because he had already spent months discussing marriage, travel, and a shared life, the request did not feel like sending money to a stranger. It felt like supporting a partner. She transferred a significant amount. Then the messages stopped. The phone number no longer worked. The profile vanished, and the future she had imagined disappeared with it. Financial loss was only part of the damage. Laura later described the shame as one of the hardest emotions to overcome. Victims often remain silent because they fear friends and relatives will ask, "How could you believe that?" But shame protects the criminal. It prevents victims from reporting what happened, warning others, or seeking support. Another common romance scheme involves celebrity impersonation. A fan receives a message from an account using the name and photograph of a famous actor, musician, or entrepreneur. The account may claim that the celebrity uses a private profile to communicate with genuine supporters away from the public. The conversation begins with appreciation. "Thank you for supporting my work." Then, it becomes friendship, then secrecy. Finally, romance. One American woman became convinced that she was communicating with an actor from a popular television series. She had joined an online creative community while experiencing difficulties in her marriage. There, someone using the actor's identity began giving her attention and emotional support. The impersonator claimed to be unhappy in his public relationship. He told her that his finances were being controlled and that he could not access his own accounts because the woman felt misunderstood in her marriage. The scammer's fictional problems appeared similar to her own. That sense of shared suffering made the relationship feel authentic. Eventually, the impersonator pressured her to choose between him and her husband. Believing the actor was serious about their future, she ended her marriage. Then came the financial requests, gift cards, cryptocurrency, small emergencies that gradually became larger. By the time she accepted that the actor had never contacted her, she had lost an enormous amount of money and had changed the direction of her personal life for someone who did not exist. In another widely reported case, a French woman believed she had developed a private relationship with a major Hollywood star. The scammer did more than send ordinary messages. He provided romantic poems, personal photographs, fabricated documents, and AI-generated pictures showing the supposed actor receiving medical treatment. When questions arose, the scammer created explanations connected to the celebrity's real public life. He claimed divorce proceedings had frozen his bank accounts. Later, he said he needed money for serious medical care. The victim had experienced health problems herself, so the hospital story affected her deeply. To make the deception even more convincing, fabricated media content was used to suggest that the celebrity had secretly entered a relationship with a woman matching the victim's identity. From her perspective, the evidence seemed to confirm everything she wanted to believe. The truth emerged only when the real actor appeared publicly with his actual partner. By then, the victim had lost most of her savings, and the emotional consequences were devastating. These cases can sound impossible from the outside. Why would a wealthy celebrity need gift cards? Why would an internationally famous actor privately contact an ordinary stranger? But scammers do not build these stories in a single day. They build them one emotional step at a time. And artificial intelligence has made those stories more believable. A few years ago, a photograph and a convincing text conversation might have been enough. Today, criminals can clone a person's voice from audio found in social media videos. They can create artificial photographs that have never appeared anywhere online. They can generate video of a person apparently speaking words that person never said. One family received a terrifying phone call from someone who sounded exactly like their relative. The caller claimed there had been a serious car accident and that money was urgently needed for medical bills and legal assistance. The voice sounded frightened. It used familiar speech patterns. It appeared to belong to someone the family loved. That is what makes voice cloning scams so dangerous. During an emergency, people do not behave like investigators. They react as parents, grandparents, brothers, sisters, or partners. The scammer creates fear first and demands action before the victim has time to verify the story. In another case, an older couple received a call from someone sounding like their adult son. The voice claimed he had been involved in a collision and was now facing legal trouble. Soon afterward, a second caller introduced himself as a lawyer. He said bail money had to be collected immediately, or the son would remain in custody. The couple went to the bank. A driver was sent to their home to collect the cash. Then, the fake lawyer called again. The situation had supposedly become more serious, and additional money was required. A second collection was arranged. Only when another family member independently investigated the case did they realize that their son had never been arrested. The criminals had combined a cloned voice, a fake legal professional emotional pressure, and physical cash collection into one coordinated operation. AI fraud is not limited to families. Fake celebrity investment advertisements are appearing across social media platforms. A video may show a recognizable billionaire, television personality, or financial expert promoting a new cryptocurrency platform. The lips move correctly. The voice sounds familiar. The background may resemble a real interview. But the video has been manipulated. A victim clicks the advertisement, visits a professional-looking website, and is contacted by a supposed financial advisor. The advisor may encourage a small initial deposit. The fake account then appears to increase in value. Seeing an apparent profit, the victim invests more. But when they attempt to withdraw the money, new fees suddenly appear. Taxes must be paid. The account must be verified. A security deposit is required. The displayed profits were never real. The website was only a digital stage designed to keep the victim depositing money. Perhaps the most alarming example of modern fraud occurred during what appeared to be a company video conference. An employee at an international business received instructions involving a confidential financial transaction. At first, he was suspicious, but during a video meeting, he saw and heard several people he recognized, including senior executives. They discussed the transaction and instructed him to transfer money into multiple accounts. The employee followed the instructions. Only later did the company discover that every familiar person in the meeting had been digitally recreated. The criminals had reportedly used deepfake technology to imitate the faces and voices of real employees. The company lost millions. This was not a careless person responding to a strange email. It was a trained professional attending what appeared to be a legitimate meeting with recognizable colleagues. So how can ordinary people protect themselves when voices, photographs, and even video calls can be faked? First, remember that urgency is one of the scammer's strongest weapons. You must send the money now. Do not contact anyone else. Your relative will be arrested. This investment opportunity expires today. The faster someone demands action, the more important it becomes to stop. End the conversation and verify the situation through a separate method. Call your relative using a number already stored in your phone. Contact the police department through its official public number. Speak to the bank directly. Do not use contact details supplied by the person creating the emergency. Second, be suspicious of unusual payment methods. Legitimate police officers, courts, hospitals, government agencies, and major companies do not normally demand payment through gaming gift cards, retail vouchers, cryptocurrency transfers, or cash handed to an unknown driver. These methods are attractive to criminals because they are difficult to reverse. Third, create a private family verification word. Choose a word or short phrase known only to trusted relatives. Do not post it online or use something easily guessed from family photographs. During a suspicious emergency call, ask the caller for the word. Even a perfect copy of someone's voice cannot provide information the criminal does not possess. Fourth, verify celebrity and investment claims independently. A famous person is not secretly contacting random followers to request gift cards. A billionaire is not personally choosing strangers for guaranteed cryptocurrency profits. And no legitimate investment can promise large returns without risk. Finally, do not blame victims. Educated, intelligent, experienced people can be manipulated when fear, loneliness, love, authority, or urgency is used against them. The question is not simply, how could they fall for it? A better question is, what emotional pressure did the criminal create, and how can we recognize it before it controls our decisions? The first internet scams relied on unbelievable emails and imaginary fortunes. Modern scams can reproduce the voice of your child, the face of your employer, or the appearance of a global celebrity. Technology has changed, but the criminal's objective remains the same. Create trust, create pressure, prevent verification, take the money. So the next time an unexpected message promises wealth, a stranger declares love unusually quickly, or a terrified relative demands immediate payment, pause before reacting. Ask questions, contact someone you trust. Verify the story through another channel, because in the age of artificial intelligence, seeing is no longer always believing, and hearing may not be enough either. Stay alert, protect your family, and remember, a genuine emergency can survive 2 minutes of verification. A scam usually cannot.